Post-Synodal Apostolic Exhortation Christus Vivit of the Holy Father Francis to young people and to the entire people of God. Chapter 6. Young People with Roots. Number 179. I have sometimes seen young and beautiful trees, their branches reaching to the sky, pushing ever higher, and they seemed a song of hope. Later, following a storm, I would find them fallen and lifeless. They lacked deep roots. They spread their branches without being firmly planted, and so they fell as soon as nature unleashed her power. That is why it pains me to see young people sometimes being encouraged to build a future without roots, as if the world were just starting now. For it is impossible for us to grow unless we have strong roots to support us and to keep us firmly grounded. It is easy to drift off when there is nothing to clutch onto, to hold onto. Don't allow yourselves to be uprooted. Number 180. This is an important issue, and I want to spend a brief chapter discussing it. If we appreciate this issue, we can distinguish the joy of youth from a false cult of youth that can be used to seduce and manipulate young people. Number 181. Think about it. If someone tells young people to ignore their history, to reject the experiences of their elders, to look down on the past and to look forward to a future that he holds out, doesn't it then become easy to draw them along so that they only do what he tells them? He needs the young to be shallow, uprooted and distrustful, so that they can trust only in his promises and act according to his plans. That is how various ideologies operate. They destroy or deconstruct all differences so that they can reign unopposed. To do so, however, they need young people who have no use for history, who spurn the spiritual and human riches inherited from past generations, and are ignorant of everything that came before them. Number 182. These masters of manipulation also use another tactic, the cult of youth, which dismisses all that is not young as contemptible and outmoded. The youthful body becomes the symbol of this new cult. Everything associated with that body is idolized and lusted after, while whatever is not young is despised. But this cult of youth is simply an expedient that ultimately proves degrading to the young. It strips them of any real value and uses them for personal, financial or political profit. Number 183. Dear young friends, do not let them exploit your youth to promote a shallow life that confuses beauty with appearances. Realize that there is beauty in the laborer who returns home grimy and unkempt, but with the joy of having earned food for his family. There is extraordinary beauty in the fellowship of a family at table, generously sharing what food it has. There is beauty in the wife, slightly disheveled and no longer young, who continues to care for her sick husband despite her own failing health. Long after the springtime of their courtship has passed, there is beauty in the fidelity of those couples who still love one another in the autumn of life, those elderly people who still hold hands as they walk. There is also a beauty, unrelated to appearances or fashionable dress, in all those men and women who pursue their personal vocation with love, in selfless service of community or nation, in the hard work of building a happy family, in the selfless and demanding effort to advance social harmony. To find, to disclose and to highlight this beauty, which is like that of Christ on the cross, is to lay the foundations of genuine social solidarity and the culture of encounter. Number 184. Along with the stratagems of a false cult of youth and appearance, we are also witnessing attempts to promote a spirituality without God, an affectivity without community or concern for those who suffer, a fear of the poor, viewed as dangerous, and a variety of claims to offer a future paradise that nonetheless seems increasingly distant. I do not want to offer you any such thing, and with great love I urge you not to let yourselves be taken in by this ideology. It will not make you any younger, but enslave you instead. I propose another way, one born of freedom, enthusiasm, creativity and new horizons, while at the same time cultivating the roots that nourish and sustain us. Number 185. In this regard, I would note that many Synod Fathers coming from non-Western contexts pointed out that in their countries globalization is bringing with it forms of cultural colonization that sever young people from their cultural and religious roots. The Church needs to make a commitment to accompanying these young people, so that in the process they do not lose sight of the most precious features of their identity. Number 186. Today, in fact, we see a tendency to homogenize young people, blurring what is distinctive about their origins and backgrounds, and turning them into a new line of malleable goods. This produces a cultural devastation that is just as serious as the disappearance of species of animals and plants. For this reason, in addressing young indigenous people gathered in Panama, I encourage them to care for your roots, because from the roots comes the strength that is going to make you grow, flourish, and bear fruit. Your relationship with the elderly. Number 187. At the Synod, we heard that the young are focused on the future and they face life with energy and dynamism. But they are also tempted to give little attention to the memory of the past from which they come, in particular the many gifts transmitted to them by their parents, their grandparents, and the cultural experience of the society in which they live. Helping the young to discover the living richness of the past, to treasure its memory and to make use of it for their choices and opportunities, is a genuine act of love towards them, for the sake of their growth and the decisions they are called to make. Number 188. The Word of God encourages us to remain close to the elderly, so that we can benefit from their experience. Stand in the assembly of the elders. Who is wise? Cling to him. If you see an intelligent man, visit him. Let your foot wear out his doorstep. Sirach chapter 6 verses 34 and 36. In every case, the long years they lived and all they have experienced in life should make us look to them with respect. You shall rise up before the hoary head. Leviticus chapter 19 verse 32. 4. The glory of young men is their strength, but the beauty of old men is their gray hair. Proverbs chapter 20 verse 29. Number 189. The Bible also tells us, listen to your father who begot you, and do not despise your mother when she is old. Proverbs chapter 23 verse 22. The command to honor our father and mother is the first commandment to carry a promise with it. Ephesians chapter 6 verse 2. Confer Exodus chapter 20 verse 12. Deuteronomy chapter 5 verse 16. Leviticus chapter 19 verse 3, and that promise is that it may be well with you and that you may live long on the earth. Ephesians chapter 6 verse 3. Number 190. This does not mean having to agree with everything adults say or approving all their actions. A young person should always have a critical spirit. Saint Basil the Great encouraged the young to esteem the classical Greek authors, but to accept only whatever good they could teach. It is really a matter of being open to receiving a wisdom passed down from generation to generation, a wisdom familiar with human weakness and not deserving to vanish before the novelties of consumer society and the market. Number 191. The world has never benefited, nor will it ever benefit, from a rupture between generations. That is the siren song of a future without roots and origins. It is the lie that would have you believe that only what is new is good and beautiful. When intergenerational relationships exist, a collective memory is present in communities, as each generation takes up the teachings of its predecessors and in turn bequeaths a legacy to its successors. In this way, they provide frames of reference for firmly establishing a new society. As the old saying goes, if the young had knowledge and the old strength, there would be nothing they could not accomplish.